What if a hacker, sitting anywhere in the world, could rifle through the most intimate contents of your phone at will, accessing your images, reading your encrypted messages, and even snooping in on conversations in the vicinity of your device? What if this could happen entirely without your knowledge, and there was nothing you could do, short of issuing modern technology, to prevent it? Sound like science fiction? Unfortunately, it's the sad reality for many dissidents around the world. Just look at WhatsApp's 2019 lawsuit against NSO Group, one of many surveillance companies that sells hacking tools to governments, supposedly to fight terrorism. WhatsApp found that NSO Group's tools took advantage of a now fixed flaw in the popular app and were used to hack 1,400 people through malicious missed calls that were not recorded in the phone's logs. Some targets included lawyers and politicians in India, Catholic bishops in Togo, and dissidents reportedly pursued by Rwandan government hit squads. Pretty scary, huh? Well, the good news is most of us don't need to be that worried about becoming targets. The technology that enables this sort of spying is licensed exclusively to governments, sometimes for the price of tens of millions of dollars per year. Of course, if a government pays more, they get to spy on more targets. This licensing model not only focuses governments' attention on their top targets, but also reflects the fact that each new target is a potential risk. If that target figures out they're being hacked, sees what flaw is being exploited, and tells the app's developer, then the company's product essentially becomes useless, and they have to start over at great expense. We were able to capture a similar code and report it to Apple in 2016, who fixed several flaws. So how do we know all this, and how do we track this stuff? Well, for a long time, these tools operated almost exclusively on the basis of social engineering. This was great for us researchers because a dissident would notice a suspicious link, for example, and forward to us for analysis, just like UAE activist Ahmed Mansour did in 2016 and many times before. Given only a single sample, we can often use an internet scanning process to attribute it to a company or a government and map out the global footprint of the hacking operation. In the Mansour case, the scanning process also led us to other websites that would appear in links. Obviously, the company selling the hacking tools doesn't want us to be able to do this, so they take steps from time to time to vary the behavior of their servers. So there's actually a fascinating scanning arms race that comes into play here, and advancing this arms race is part of my ongoing research. However, it's clear that companies in the surveillance industry are stepping up their game in terms of finding more so-called zero-click flaws, like the WhatsApp issue, and sending fewer dodgy links to click on. The nice thing about a dodgy link is it might stay around in someone's message history essentially forever, so we can operate at our leisure to identify targets who we instruct to search their phones for certain links. But something like a WhatsApp missed call is ephemeral, and there have even been reports of completely invisible zero-click flaws, where nothing at all appears on the phone screen, not even for a millisecond. My project focuses on ways to continue to detect and track these new zero-click threats. So how do you detect something you can't see? Well, one thing that all these tools do is they upload data off a phone, typically through the internet, back to the hacker. This behavior can stand out when you think about the ways people typically use their phones. Sure, maybe they're uploading photos through the Instagram app, but it would certainly be odd to see an upload to a random cloud server that's not linked to an app on their device. So the approach we take is go deep. Continuously monitor the metadata of internet traffic of some targets likely to be hacked. We're building an approach that focuses our attention on certain suspicious traffic that we, the researchers, manually vet, while excluding as much benign traffic automatically as possible. This vetting helps us get an initial target and maybe a sample of the spyware. We do our scanning, find the other servers, but how do we find other targets? One thing we do is called DNS cache probing. It's an existing technique that I'm conducting ongoing research to improve, which allows us to see where in the world certain websites are being accessed from. If, for instance, we see a website we've linked to Saudi Arabian hacking accessed from Canada, then we make a list of possible targets, interview them, and see if their pattern of life matches what we observed in our DNS cache probing. We did such a process back in 2018, which led us to Omar Abdulaziz, a friend of Jamal Khashoggi. In that case, we got lucky because he had been targeted with an SMS rather than a zero-click, which provided some nice validation for our technique. Ultimately, when we have a research finding, we publish a report highlighting the abuse and provide support to lawyers and policymakers working to hold the surveillance industry to account. The industry is trying to thwart us by going dark with zero-click exploits, but my ongoing project will help continue to illuminate the troubling abuse of surveillance tools so civil society can fight back.